Tim's News Explosion. 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 Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Tim's News Explosion on this Monday, the 28th of March, 2022. We are live on the Wilms Front YouTube, D Live, and Odyssey channels. It is 8:30 p.m. here in Melbourne, Victoria, where Dan Andrews will be away for the next 7 days because he has tested positive to COVID-19, despite being double vaccinated and boosted, or as he likes to call it, triple dosed. And also, he's one of those people who would claims to do everything right. So this was his statement today. After developing mild symptoms this morning, including a sore throat and mild temperature, I undertook a rapid antigen test. I have tested positive to COVID-19. Will now isolate for the next 7 days. So far, Kath and the kids have tested negative. As they are close contacts, they will isolate for the next 7 days. Deputy Premier James Merlino will be acting Premier until March 4. Now, followers of Dan, they're the ones who perpetuated right from the beginning that if you caught COVID, it was a moral failure. You must have not been careful. But of course, COVID can infect anybody, no matter how careful you are. Even if you wear masks to a public event. Dan and his wife Kath were at the launch of Hamilton the musical. Real Ruckshan put out this tweet: fully vaccinated and masked, Premier test positive after attending event using vaccine passport system. That's it. That's the tweet. And the Barbecue Bulletin today put out a headline: Dan Andrews test positive, forced to isolate in same household as worst enemy. Yes, of course. Last year, he injured himself much more severely, where he ended up in ICU, falling down the stairs at that Sorrento holiday home and broke his back and was out for 3 months. Sadly, with COVID, he'll just be out for 7 days and will be perfectly fine. But does he have COVID, or is he maybe covering some up? There's always the theory of that. Maybe, I don't know, he's got rabies from patting this dog out on the streets of Melgrave there as part of, well, his electorate campaigning as well. That poor dog there, you can see that it's looking very, very sad that Dan is touching its head there. But him isolating for 7 days, Dan, it means that he'll miss Shane Warne's public memorial at the MCG on a Wednesday evening. It'll probably be best that Dan's not there because Warney hated him. Obviously, the focus will be on Warney's cricket community and also his 3 children who are dearly missing their father. They've said it's like a bad nightmare. That is Brooke, Summer, and Jackson. So here is a photo of Shane Warne and his son. No, sorry, that's a photoshopped image of Shane Warne with Blair Cottrell's head on it. And this is because there was a video that went viral based on Blair's vlog about Shane Warne's heart attack. I'll play a bit of it here. I won't play the full thing because then YouTube will target it.
He was really against them. he used to get really irritated when his friends would when he found out his friends were doing drugs, right? And apparently he was in Thailand where he died. He was in Thailand seeking some sort of cleanse or therapy because ever since he'd been vaccinated, he'd had.
Yep. So that video was shared around, and it was shared by a United Australia Party endorsed candidate for the seat of Blaxland, Elvis Sinozi, there, who tweeted segments of the video, said hard-hitting truth from Shane Warne soon. So it didn't say son, said soon. And this prompted a fact check from 6 News Australia, run by 14-year-old boy wonder Leo Pazzolzi. I think I've pronounced that right. And it says, UAP candidate shares video of far-right extremist Blair Cottrell shaming its Shane Warne's son. A candidate for the United Australia Party shared a video that purports to show Shane Warne's son, Jackson Ward, talking about vaccines and the mainstream media. However, it's not his son. It is far-right extremist Blair Cottrell. The 45-second clip, a cut-down version of the full video, was shared by Elvis Sinosik, a self-described UAP-endorsed candidate for Blaxland. However, he wasn't the first to do so. The clip was shared by dozens on social media before incorrectly naming the man in the video as Jackson Warne. Cottrell gained infamy in 2018 when he was interviewed on Sky News Australia in a one-on-one discussion about immigration. The Sydney Morning Herald also reported this several years earlier, in 2015. In one Facebook post that included a photograph of Adolf Hitler, Mr. Cottrell commented there should be a picture of this man in every classroom and every school, and his book should be issued to every student annually. Now, that is what they've attributed to a Facebook comment that's attributed to Blair, where he says there should be a portrait of this man in every classroom. So the Sydney Morning Herald, they've got the quote completely wrong here from this article in 2015. It was a portrait, not a picture. And the comment that's attributed to Blair never mentioned that Mein Kampf should be prescribed to students annually there. Blair has denied posting that as a comment. And going on in this 6 News fact check, Mr. Cottrell has also written regularly about Jews. In this video, Cottrell says a lot of media bureaucrats actually believe the shit that they put across the masses because they've gone and got vaccinated. In the longer version of the video, first published through his Telegram and not shared by Senator, Cottrell also links COVID-19 vaccine to Shane Warne's death, and it quotes what I just played. In the video, Cottrell refers to Shane Warne by using his full name, not as my dad, like Jackson Warne likely would. The claim that Cottrell was Jackson Warne appeared to originate from a Facebook post with a false caption. The original video was also shared to Cottrell's Gab account. Well, yeah, because it was Blair's vlog, and of course he published it to his Telegram. So yes, that apparently warranted a fact check that was sort of viral video that claimed that Blair was Warnie's son. This is Warnie's actual son, Jackson Warne. You can make your own judgment whether he looks a bit like Blair. He's only around about 22, Jackson Warne. He's definitely got Chad looks and physique. He was a contestant on the SAS Australia reality TV show, I think a couple of years ago. So he's a minor celebrity in his own right. And Blair himself on his Telegram even decided to play along with this viral video.
How y'all going, guys? Shane Warne's son here. I need you all to know that my father was killed by the vaccine mandates imposed by the Jews who control this world, and we Aussies have to do something about it. And the first thing we can all do is work on developing sick pectoral muscles. Look at that, mate. Get on my level.
Now, of course, Blair is only taking the piss there about this viral video, but of course, this will be taken as literal anti-Semitism by Blair's critics and people who just believe what the fake news media publishes about him. As Tomorrow VI says, fake news from the Sydney Morning Herald as always. Hello to everyone in the live chat there. I noticed maybe because I called tonight's show Nazploitation, that's maybe why people there's been a slow trickle in of viewers. And the reason why I've called it that is because Nick McKenzie and his producer Joel Tozer's expose on an infiltration of the National Socialist Network that they broadcast on 60 Minutes back in August last year, and also did in written form on the Age, was premiered yesterday as a fully fledged documentary on Stan, which is a streaming service also owned by Nine. You can subscribe to it from about $10 a month. And this was the promotional video that they put on their YouTube channel there. So the official title is Revealed Amongst Us, Neo-Nazi Australia. And so this was published about 2 weeks beforehand. And it kind of looked like that this documentary was going to be more extensive report on what was shown in the 2-part 60 Minutes. And after the YouTube comments on the trailer were bombed by NSN supporters and sympathizers, Stan put disabled YouTube comments there. Now, I watched it I already had a Stan subscription because two of my favorite sitcoms are streaming on Stan, the Nanny and Will and Grace. So I already had a Stan subscription. So it's not like I was giving any extra money to Nick McKenzie and Joel Tozer's investigation, where to remind everybody, they arranged an infiltrator who went by the name Dave Ryan to secretly record the NSN members at what they called Racism HQ in Rowville from March until May, when Tom Sewell, Jacob Hershnet were arrested over that alleged robbery, which was the result of a confrontation with a vehicle which had Antifa spies in it. And this is a article that Dave Hiscock published on the XYZ back in August 2021. David Hiscock, he was featured in the hidden footage, but he wasn't mentioned at all in the documentary. Maybe because Dave Hiscock used to say when we did shows together, there's the golden rule: don't mention the XYZ. And I remember when another mainstream media journalist, Cam Wilson, did a hit piece on George Christensen because he went on my show and mentioned that I do a show, The Uncockables, which featured the next night Neil Erickson, the leader of the Melbourne Proud Boys, and a guy from some other website that was just a personification of the don't mention the XYZ rule. Now, also at the time, Dave Hiscock had his own YouTube show, The David Hiscock Show, where I think he did about 2 episodes exposing what this Dave Ryan guy was like. And he actually was, you actually heard him in this documentary interact with the NSN members, but according to David Hiscock and Jazz Searby, his level of racism even made them uncomfortable. And there's in the documentary, there's an exchange where this Dave Ryan says something derogatory about some migrant group, and the guy who's filming says, "I don't hate them, I just don't want them in Australia." And of course, this Dave Ryan, he gave them free meat and other things as well. So Nine was actually paying NSN. And so going down here, and this was the van that Dave Ryan drove around Victoria when he was with NSN, and it had the Australian flag, blood and honour, and a National Socialist Network sticker, and also had a homophobic sticker on it, which I don't know if that's part of NSN's paraphernalia. It said something like "Stop Fs," which I can't say it on this show because it's so obscene. So this was, it went all around the mainstream media. This was the Bendigo News. A red swastika in a car window at a Bendigo Macca's drive-through was not the only piece of white supremacist propaganda on Victoria's roads, with more Nazi slogans spotted on the freeway. Read the full story here. And Dave goes through what I just mentioned. Channel 9 effectively sponsored NSN to the tune of thousands of dollars, buying meat and alcohol through direct cash donations. And Dave Hiscock also alleges that he regularly drove over the blood alcohol limit. And in the 60 Minutes piece, Nick McKenzie, he thanks the I don't know if he paid the White Rose Society or Slack Bastard or Alex Mann for using their research, but he thanked them there. And Nick McKenzie for his 60 Minutes, reports on the NSN infiltration. He's already won a Walkley Award, another Walkley Award for investigative journalism, and at the Melbourne Quill Awards, Nick McKenzie and Joel Tozer won the Grant Hatton Quill for investigative journalism. So he's got a few more journalism awards under his belt there. But going to the documentary itself, it was actually anticlimactic. It actually included less information or detail that was included in the 60 Minutes reports, because I think for legal reasons. So it goes for 75 minutes, and at the end of the hour, Nick McKenzie says to Dave Ryan, "We've got to get you out." And then, even though he's spouting all of this racist stuff, interacting with NSN members, he says that it makes him sick to do it, even though he's acting as one of the most racist members of the group. And it's not mentioned. It's not mentioned what happened at the Cathedral Ranges. It just shows some footage from the raids in late May, and then the last 15 minutes is, well, it's a vanity focus on Nick McKenzie. It has him getting ready for to present the 60 Minutes report, and it also has him get teary because, well, an old tweet, which was not that old at the time. He tweeted this in April 2021 when he was promoting another expose on Ben Roberts-Smith, the vice corporal recipient that his reports have alleged that Ben Ben Robert Smith committed war crimes in Afghanistan. Ben Robert Smith is suing 60 Minutes and The Age for defamation. And so this is what Nick McKenzie tweeted in April, around about, it works out to about 4 months before the NSN story. I don't normally tell people to watch me on telly. That's what my Jewish mum is for. But if you care about the fight between truth versus power, money in Australia, please watch 60 Minutes tonight. A tough bit of invest journalism. Watch it here, even if you planned a night of Vera reruns. And yes, Nick McKenzie was apparently very upset that NSN supporters and sympathizers had dug up this, or basically just scrolled through his Twitter feed and found this 4-month-old tweet and claim. Well, he made it out like they were targeting his mum, and it was his personal life, even though his reports had just led to 6 members of NSN losing their jobs, and this infiltrator had it filmed the NSN members' personal lives. I mean, they also showed footage of Jacob Hirschner's girlfriend. I mean, that's Jacob's personal life. You can say as well, yet Nick McKenzie is claiming that his personal life is being targeted, even though he mentioned on Twitter that, why did he even mention that his mother was Jewish? Why didn't he just say, like, his mother was always telling people to watch him on television? Why did he say that? Why did he go out of his way to mention that his mother was Jewish? I'm not sure if this is the real Blair Cottrell here. Pay an informant to stalk and bribe people so you can dox them and ruin their lives, then cry in the car because they said mean things about you in an online response. Yes, they show him in the car scrolling through apparently what NSN members and supporters are saying about him and saying, oh, I'm tempted to respond, but I don't want to seem thin-skinned. And I'm sort of like, come on, like, you've taken on Crown Resorts and also Ben Robert Smith, and apparently doing a investigative story on some working class neo-Nazis. Apparently the most traumatic most traumatic thing for you. Like, I'm sure you've got lots of high profile legal threats before, but some anti-Semitic comments on Telegram by people who no serious threat to you at all. I mean, come on. So as I mentioned, the final 15 minutes, it was just focused on how troubled he was by the National Socialist Network, and claimed that they normalize hate, and that watching the Christchurch massacre is like breathing air for them. And it's worth mentioning again the complete unethicalness of this investigative journalism, because it wasn't, as Nick McKenzie said, observing them in their natural environment, because they inserted a third party there who was basically trying to bait them to say more racist things there. And they even, in the original 60 Minutes piece, filmed Jazz Searby in his house with his wife. That didn't make it into the documentary, probably because it was so outrageous that you'd secretly film somebody in their own private house. So Jazz Searby didn't feature in the documentary. Neither did Australian Meditation's Stefanos, even though Nick McKenzie did a recent piece, said that wrote in The Age that he was one of the masked neo-Nazis in the warriors of the convict resistance, burning the Aboriginal flag, which had a sign in the background calling Lydia Thorpe and Abo Hore. Blair says, my girlfriend, who isn't even political opinionated, watching the doco, said the journalist Nick seems petty and stupid, and the neo-Nazi group seems interesting and actually has some good points. Well, I disagree with you there. I mean, I think Tom Sewell and the NSN's views are ridiculous, and obviously the fact that the NSN during their January 2021 Grampians trip chanted things like Ku Klux Klan and burnt a cross. I mean, the mainstream media, they've always loved doing exploitation stories on neo-Nazis, and because the all throughout since you're a young child in school, you're always taught about the atrocities and evil of the Nazi regime. And so these sorts of sensational stories are meant to get the eyeballs of the normie. My God, I can't believe that there's these people still around who believe this horrible and hateful ideology, even though these people are no threat to anybody. I mean, I'm not scared of them at all. And like, well, I don't talk about my personal life, but I'm supposed to be one of these people that's really threatened by them, but I've never felt threatened by them at all. So that again shows that just the sensationalized aspect of this type of news documentary, and the hidden camera putting someone in putting an artificial person into a story and secretly filming it. It's similar to what Al Jazeera did back in 2019 when they got an actor to pretend to be an NRA gun dealer and see if One Nation Australia were interested in getting political donations from the NRA. The story only existed is because this actor approached the NRA, and they got hidden footage of Pauline Hanson claiming that the official narrative of the Port Arthur massacre that she didn't believe. And there was also, if we go back 20 years, there was the documentary on Mark Collett, Young Nazi and Proud, where, well, he was actually invited in, the journalist David Modell, to film Mark Collett's British National Party activities. But this journalist, David Modell, actually secretly filmed him when he thought the cameras were off. So it's not quite as bad as what Nick McKenzie did with this Dave Ryan person, but it was still an underhanded journalistic technique. But the reason they could use all the footage is because Mark signed a release, and at the end, this journalist. David Modell said, I've actually been recording you when you think the cameras are off, praising life in Nazi Germany, and I'm actually Jewish myself. And the thing is, because Nick McKenzie is Jewish, and he's done this mainstream media hit piece doxing these neo-Nazis, it's going to reinforce these neo-Nazis' worldview that, oh, well, see, of course it's the underhanded Jew that's trying to subvert us. And going back to the documentary on Mark Collett from 2002. I mean, 20 years later, Mark Collett has the same views, still engaged in activism. So it's not going to reform the hardcore neo-Nazi national socialist, this type of expose. I mean, in 20 years' time, Thomas Sewell and Jacob Hirschnett, they'll still have the same views. I mean, although Nick McKenzie did get an ex-Lad Society member to say, and this ex-Lad Society member also spoke to the ABC Earshot podcast talking about the grooming process, where if you say enough National Socialist stuff, you're invited into the super secretive National Socialist secret Facebook group where you're invited to help plan the new white communities. So they always love getting the ex-National Socialist or neo-Nazi as well. I know that there was one 3 years ago as well with Lisa May Sanford and Justin Bueller married to the alt-right, where Lisa said that she joined the alt-right because she just wanted to bake. So yes, as I mentioned, very anticlimactic, this Nick McKenzie Stan documentary. And yeah, he's no Louis Theroux, put it like that. Well, Louis Theroux, again, he actually is himself, when he's done a few documentaries on neo-Nazis, but he's actually been upfront that approaches them I'm going to document. And he's pretty open about him being Jewish as well, but that is probably the most pure, you would say, a most ethical type of documenting of far right neo-Nazis, National Socialists, the type that Louis Theroux does as well. And he actually he lets them have their say. And in Australia, John Safran is the same as well. I mean, he hasn't done underhanded types of techniques interviewing people. John Safran, I mean, he's done stunts and that, but they're stunts and they're hilarious. Tim, you seem to bring up the Jewish word a lot. Are you Jewish? No, I'm not. My ancestry is German and Welsh. Now, as neo-Nazism, it's not the only ideology that's led to the slaughter of millions. Neoconservatism, with the imperialist wars that it's got the US involved in, has led to the slaughter and murder of millions in the past 30 years. And this is why I was especially happy on Thursday morning when I found out that former US Secretary of State under Bill Clinton, Madeleine Albright, died at the age of 84. I was singing to myself, ding dong, the witch is dead, witch old witch, the wicked witch. Now, the reason why it's great that Madeleine Albright is dead is because in 1996 on US 60 Minutes, no relation to 60 Minutes Australia, she was asked about US sanctions in Iraq leading to the deaths of 500,000 Iraqi children. And this is what she said.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
Yeah, so she basically said, yep, 500,000 dead Iraqi children, it's worth it because we don't like Saddam Hussein. And I couldn't believe that, rest in peace was trending on Twitter after she died. More like burning in hell or burn in hell should have been trending on Twitter. And she's now occupying a special place in hell for people who think that the deaths of 500,000 Iraqi children are worth it. And that's a play on her feminist line that there's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. No, there's a special place in hell for people like you. So good riddance to Madeleine Albright. I was when I posted my pleasure on Twitter, I was reminded that Henry Kissinger is still alive and Dick Cheney is still alive. So there's still lots of neocon war criminals still breathing air, not burning in hell. Now, overnight, the Oscars Academy Awards was on, and it's normally very boring, the Oscars, because it's full of SJW woke virtue signaling, but it was actually extremely lively and exciting this year because of Will Smith bitch slapping Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Should become the next G.I. Jane because of her lack of hair. Now, Jada Pinkett Smith has got alopecia. Now, apparently, Will Smith, he got up on stage and bitch slapped Chris Rock because Jada Pinkett Smith didn't think the joke was funny. And of course, Will Smith, he would have seen all the memes over the past few months calling him a cuck because Jada Pinkett Smith admitted to sleeping with other men when they were separated, and then they got back together. And in my opinion, Will Smith just snapped there and wanted to break out of this beta cuck meme world. And Chris Rock, I think, because he basically said like, oh, this was the greatest moment in history of television. Like, even though he got assaulted, he was like, people are going to remember me in this moment forever. And of course, Will Smith won an Oscar for Best Actor later, where he sort of apologized for it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into much extended commentary about that, but I mean, it made a welcome change from the boringness of the Oscar. I mean, it was way more exciting than them reading out the wrong winner many years ago. And Australia, well, I was mentioning the Walkley Awards before. There was also the most interesting moment in Walkley history was when journalist Glenn Milne got up on stage drunk and pushed Stephen Milne. Stephen Mayne, off the stage, calling him a disgrace. So that was lively. And of course, there was the infamous punch on the midday show where broadcaster Ron Casey punched singer and Vietnam veteran Normie Rowe in a debate over the Republic. Normie Rowe got in Ron Casey's face and pushed him because Ron Casey insulted, trivialized his Vietnam War service. And when Normie Rowe shoved him, then Ron Casey punched him there. So yeah, it reminded us of colorful moments from TV past, because TV is very boring, politically correct, and bland these days. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this week's edition of Tim's News Explosion. Now, I've got two Wilms fronts next week. On Monday, I've got John Steinoff from the Human Rights Law Alliance, part of it's the Australian Christian Lobby's legal arm. That'll be on Monday. And then on Thursday next week, I've got Anthony Lev, one of the speakers of the Worldwide Freedom Rally. So there'll be no Wilms Front next week. No Tim's News Explosion next week. So there'll be a special Tim's News Explosion on Thursday to make up for it. And I'll include my post-budget, more like fudget, analysis, because there'll be a lot of fudging of the numbers, and we'll see if the bribe is right. Well, the bribe to the voters, to see if it'll be enough to turn the Morrison government's polling fortunes around, because after the budget, probably on Sunday, Scott Morrison will call the federal election. So good night, everybody. Stay safe and stay sane. Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.